like to introduce Gerri Brunton. She's a registered dietitian, and she's going to speak to us about healthy eating strategies.
Thank you, Judy. Okay, I'll pretend that's not on now. Okay, when Judy had asked me to come speak to you guys, I was trying to think of basic concepts that would help you, but also some specific things that you could do, and that's why you have two sheets. The one's called Healthy Eating Strategies, and these strategies came from years of working with weight loss classes. And the two books that we've done them solely on the Lose Weight with the Power of One, which is listed at the bottom there, by Stephen Moss. It sounds really new agey, but it isn't. It's basically, he has these different strategies that you need to do, and it's a novel, actually. It's not a textbook, it's a novel, and you read this story about this person and they lose weight, and it's interesting to read. It's an easy read. The other book is called Intuitive Eating, which is listed right above that, and that's by Evelyn Treble and Elise Resch, and they're both dietitians in California. And Intuitive Eating changed my whole paradigm on weight loss when I read it. And basically that, they have 10 principles that they follow. Some of them overlap, but I really do like some of Stephen's too. So I kind of combined some and just made up these 10 from both of these books. Some of them are very obvious and you can tell, but I did want to just review through them just to explain what they are. The first one says reject the diet mentality. Does anyone know what diet mentality is? Or just take a stab at it?
Does it mean
counting calories?
Counting
Okay,
calories.
yeah. What else? A mentality, so it's a way of thinking. Writing down what you're eating. Okay.
Maybe you focus on what you can eat instead of what you can.
That's true. We do that as humans. Yeah. We focus on what we can't instead of what we should be eating or could be eating.
Like a lifestyle change, like it's, like, you know what I mean? It should be like a lifestyle change.
Yes.
Like,
that's a great segue. What you ladies all said about the diet mentality, it is true. Some of those things are good to do. It's good to kind of write down what you eat sometimes just to give yourself a mirror so you can see. A lot of times we think we're eating worse than we are, or we think we're eating better than we are. But when you actually write it down and you're honest with yourself, you can look at it and it really does help. But the diet mentality is just that. You're on a diet. So even if it's a healthy eating diet, you're on this diet. And whenever you go on a diet, you will go off the diet. And I think that's an intuitive eating principle there. And that is if you reject the diet mentality, you can't do it in 2 seconds. Check, I just did that. It takes weeks or maybe even months because we live in a society where you're watching TV, commercials, movies, just standing in the grocery aisle, looking at the ads on the magazines there, listening to people talk, go to a family gathering, a friend gathering. People are always talking about what the latest diet is and how so-and-so lost weight. And it's so easy to want to try the next fad diet that comes down the pike, or one maybe that you haven't tried in a while, because we feel better when we're on it. Like we'll say, oh, well, if I'm trying this, I'm doing something. But I really think we just need to reject the diet mentality. And Evelyn and Elise have found with their clients that by rejecting the diet mentality, you're not on a diet and you're doing what you said about it being a lifestyle change. It does not have to be a 180. You might think that you're like eating the worst, you have the worst lifestyle habits and you have to do a 180. But anything you do towards healthy eating habits or healthy exercise habits or whatever, anything you do towards that is a step in the right direction. So even if you don't get to exactly where you want to be, anything in the right direction is good. So rejecting the diet mentality is first, and it's usually the hardest thing, I think, because it probably took me a good couple years to get off the diet mentality, and I was on diets all the time in college. Always felt like I had to, you know, I'm going to eat these cookies right now, and tomorrow I'm going to eat celery all day. I mean, I had that mentality of bad, good, and it's just sabotage. It's just sabotage. So that, I mean, we don't have much time, so I'm not going to keep elaborating on it. But that is a huge hurdle to jump, is rejecting the diet mentality. And it doesn't come naturally in our society. The second one, I combined two together. Honor your hunger and feel your fullness. And that's just something basic that we have gotten out of. We've gotten out of feeling hungry. I speak at another weight loss group, and we once a month, and we were talking about stuff, and we were talking about fullness. And every single person, there was probably 12 people at the table, said they don't feel full. They don't remember feeling full. I mean, they said they could just keep eating. If the food's there, they could just keep eating. And I remember that in my dieting days of starving myself and then, you know, overstuffing myself. But when you actually do, when you're doing all of these things and you're eating often and you're feeding yourself, you will feel hunger and you'll feel fullness. What does it feel like to feel hungry?
Your stomach growls.
Stomach growling, gnawing. What else? Other physical signs that you feel. Everyone feels kind of different ones.
Low blood sugar.
Tired, feeling the low blood sugar, you might get shaky. I get that way.
Yeah, hyper, when I have an
Hyper, okay.
burp, I meant burp.
Burping, okay. It's good that you know how you feel when you feel hungry, because not everybody feels that. And if you're not eating often throughout the day, you might not even feel hungry, because if you suppress eating, the body adapts to that and you're not even going to feel hungry. If you're a breakfast skipper, you probably don't even eat before lunch. I mean, most people, you just suppress that hunger when you aren't eating. So you want to honor your hunger, and even if you feel like, I'm trying to lose weight and I'm hungry, well, you're a human being, and that's how God made us, and we need to eat. Like, food is fuel. Like, you can't live without it. But you also want to feel your fullness, and this was just huge when I discovered this. I used to eat, if I made brownies, I would eat them a lot at once because, well, I want to get them out of the house. I just want them out of the kitchen. And now, it's to the point where when you're full, stop, and then you can eat again later. Because you know you're not going to sabotage yourself, and you're going to honor your hunger, so stop when you're full. It's kind of a two-sided coin. And I've added, before you swallowed the lead-filled beach ball, that's from Stephen Moss. He just talks about how we sometimes don't even realize that we've overate until we feel like we swallowed a lead-filled beach ball. Holidays, I can definitely think of times when I've done that. But, I mean, I read this, I started, my paradigm shift was in 2000 when I started teaching the Healthy Steps class, and we based it on this intuitive eating book. And I have to say, I overeat much less often. I'm not saying I'm perfect and never overeat. Of course, we all do. But before that, it was much more frequent. So you don't overeat, not because you're not allowed, because you're on a diet, but because it makes you feel yucky. So you don't want to do it and feel sick or feel run down or whatever. Okay, the third one, if you don't love it, don't eat it. This is another monumental thing, and believe me, you can, unbelievable. I can think of things in my childhood that I grew up eating, and things in adulthood that carried through from childhood that we just ate out of tradition. I don't know, just because I knew I wasn't supposed to have it. So then when I went to college, like, you know, Pop-Tarts, I just bought Pop-Tarts all the time because we didn't really eat them when I was growing up. But retaste food. I mean, our tastes change. You might learn to like something that you never liked as, you know, when you were younger, and now you like it. And it's the same way. You might be eating something out of habit and not even enjoying the taste. So retaste. I'm trying to think of things. Cheese curls, Pop-Tarts. These are things that I thought I liked, but when I retasted them and as my taste changed, I don't like them. So if I'm hungry, obviously if that's the only thing, you're going to eat it. But be choosy with it. It's if you don't love it, don't eat it. And retasting is like the subtitle for that. Number 4, eat breakfast. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but a lot of times we think when we're trying to lose weight that we want to eat less calories. So no breakfast is better than a small breakfast, or no lunch is better than, just something. That's a bad thing to do. So eat breakfast. And studies show that people that do eat breakfast maintain their weight at a healthy weight more than people who don't eat breakfast. Drinking water, that can kind of get a little overkill. I think that drinking water is important. You don't want to stuff water down you, but I would say that the recommendation is about 8 glasses a day. But if you normally drink, if you're a drinker and you do drink your 8 ounces or more, then that's fine. Keep doing what works for you. But if you only drink 2 or 3, I don't want you to jump up to 8 right away.
Well, I just heard recently that you should drink water according to the color of your urine. It should be
Yes, that is actually true. The color of your urine is a hydration status code. If it's real dark, then you're probably dehydrated. Your urine should be pale yellow. So now you can all look next time you come. So if it's pale yellow, you're good to go. But everybody's different. And I've read other things in journals that talk about the whole water craze with bottled water. And people, it almost became a status where we all have to have our water bottle everywhere we go. Now sometimes, if I'm teaching class for 3 hours, I have to have a water bottle because you just get dry talking. You know yourself. But it is important to drink, and drinking water helps. I will say that Stephen Moss, in his book, it's a paperback, it's not very big, but his book, if you were to pick that up and read it, or even at the library, he talks about water a lot and does put a lot of emphasis on it. Drinking water during the day, before meals, after meals, just drinking water. He does like that. Okay, number 6, reduce the amount of fat in your daily life to as low as possible. That means to as low as possible for you. God gave us taste buds for a reason. We should enjoy our food. That's why if you don't love it, don't eat it. We should enjoy the food. If you are choking down dry toast because you don't want to use butter, put a little butter on it. Or put some jelly or apple butter. I don't know. There's so many other things you can use so that you can do that. Hello.
Hello.
Come on in. Oh, is there any left over?
handouts are over there.
Handouts are over there. So reducing the amount of fat in your daily life just means wherever you can and you don't notice it. But I wouldn't want you to be not eating fat or thinking you're on this low-fat diet. Just wherever you are, just try to go a little bit lower if you can. And if you've reached a plateau of cream cheese, if I'm going to eat a bagel, I want cream cheese on it. Whipped cream cheese has a little bit less calories because there's air in there, so that's a thing you can do. Or even buy the Neufchâtel, the Philly Light. That's another. It's less fat than the regular. And reduced fat products are usually good if they're a fat. When I say a fat, I mean a fat exchange. Salad dressings, cream cheese, sour cream, even some butters. If you get a reduced fat version and it still tastes good to you, then do it. If I've tried fat-free sour cream, I threw it out. I couldn't even eat it. But other people like it. So everybody's different. So find what works for you, but wherever you can decrease the fat, it would be helpful. The reason being, does anyone know why we focus on fat to decrease? No?
Because I don't know, it goes in fat into our body.
Okay, well actually any calorie, even if you ate 3,000 calories a day of broccoli and you only needed 2,000, even that extra 1,000 calories, even a broccoli calorie is still going to put on weight if it's too many. So really, it's fat is more than double the calories per gram than carbohydrates and protein. And carbs, proteins, and fats are the 3 nutrients that provide calories. So whenever we eat, that's what we're getting our calories from, carbs, fats, and proteins. Vitamins and minerals and water don't provide any calories. So if you eat extra carbs, extra baked potato, and even eat it plain with no fat or sour cream or butter on it, if it's more calories than you needed for the day, it's going to be extra. So if you can concentrate on number 6 by reducing fat when you can, a little bit less mayonnaise on your sandwich, or maybe Kraft Light because it's reduced fat, then you're going to be not noticing that you're eating less, but you're going to be cutting some fat out. And when you cut fat out, it's 9 calories per gram instead of 4. So it's more than double. So it's a way to cut calories without cutting volume of food you're eating. And I mean, I wouldn't want to say, well, if you normally eat a sandwich and potato chips and a soda for lunch, I want you to have a half a sandwich and a half a handful of potato chips and water. Well, if you sit down to eat that, you're going to eat it and be like, okay, what else is for lunch? Because it's half the food. So that's why by cutting back on fat, especially as condiments, you're going to be eating less calories, but you're going to be eating the whole sandwich. You're still going to be eating the same amount of food, but still less calories. The 7th one, reduce the amount of sugar in your daily life to as low as possible. Same principle. And you know what? These are healthy eating strategies. These are not weight loss strategies. By doing this, weight loss will be a byproduct. That's what you want. If you focus on healthy eating, weight loss comes along with it. And that's what's great. So even people that don't need to lose weight should still reduce the amount of sugar in their daily diet to as low as possible. We eat way too much sugar. Americans, I mean, I actually should have, I have so many props, but I have test tubes with sugar in them that show how much sugar is in certain foods, and it's just interesting to see. We think, even in cereal and stuff, oh, you know, I don't add sugar to anything. Well, it's amazing what's in stuff. So again, if you can just try to decrease the amount of sugar, and even if you use a sugar sub, I would say even the sugar sub, just try to use a little bit less if you can, to wean yourself to a point. You know, again, you're not going to no sugar, but to a point where you feel comfortable and you have cut some out. Okay? Now, sugar does have calories. 1 teaspoon of sugar is only 16 calories. So even if you put a teaspoon of sugar in coffee, it's 16 calories. If you use sugar substitute, Splenda or NutraSweet or Equal or whatever, it's 0. But if you put 4 or 5 teaspoons of sugar, okay, yeah, now you're talking 60 calories or something in one cup of coffee. So you do need to look at, you know, where you are with that. But sugar, just extra sugar, is definitely bad for us all. Number 8, use foods that are as close to natural as possible. Limit factory-made snacks, meals, and refined flour products. So I think with most of us, we could say that the bulk of our diet would be factory-made snacks, meals, and refined flour. So again, I'm not trying to do a 180 here, but be aware of what foods you're eating that are very, very processed. Now, I'm not saying never go to McDonald's or whatever, but just on a regular basis, try to make it when you can. Make it from scratch. Like, you know, even macaroni and cheese. It literally, macaroni and cheese, homemade, if you don't bake it in the oven, takes the same amount of time as Kraft macaroni and cheese. Not the microwavable kind, but Kraft box. It takes, as long as it takes to boil those noodles, is how long it takes to make mac and cheese. So you can boil the noodles. While the noodles are boiling, you put your flour and butter and add your milk. Make your, you know, get it a little bit thick, and just throw in your cheese slices. It can be American cheese or mozzarella, whatever you like. It gets thick, you pour it into your noodles, and you've got macaroni and cheese. But we're so quick to buy the pre-made stuff because it's, you know, we think, and sometimes it is, we're paying for convenience because it is convenient. But in other ways, I think that we've lost sight of, you know, some homemade things really don't take as long as we think. Numbers 6, 7, and 8 are all from Lose Weight with the Power of One, but I do think that they're good. If we can be eating whole foods and, you know, increasing whole foods and decreasing processed, then we're going to be doing well. Number 9, eat often. That is, I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but if you're eating more frequently, smaller portions more frequently, you say you need, I don't know, 1,800 calories a day to lose what you want to lose. Instead of eating 3 large meals, if you could break it up into 4 to 6, and it's harder because you have to find the time to do it. And I have to say, I'm very busy, But if I don't get my snacks in, I get like that shaky feeling, low blood sugar. I feel like I'm going to pass out. I was in Walmart once like eating Lifesavers because I thought I was going to pass out because I forgot my snack. And if I'm just stopping somewhere on the way home, I didn't plan. And then I think to myself, I tell people to do this, and I don't do it. But I usually like to keep a granola bar or something in my purse so that when when you're out, you don't have to swing through. I mean, I've done that already, where you just drive through somewhere because you're, shaking, so you're so hungry. But once you start eating more frequently, you will find that you want to eat more frequently. But the good thing is that you'll be less likely to overeat. If you're feeding yourself throughout the day, you'll be less likely to overeat. Late afternoon, evening is when it all kills us. You come home from work or you come home from your day or whatever, and I had one lady said that there was, her daughter had made cookies. So there was like 24 cookies, oatmeal cookies, chocolate chip, or whatever on the table. Well, she said she came home and she didn't know what to make for dinner, and she started eating the cookies, and she realized that there was like 5 left. Like she ate the plate of cookies. And she was all down on herself, and she was like, I can't believe I did that, I'm such a pig. She was really down on herself. And I just looked at her and I said, when was the last time you ate? And she said lunchtime. I said, what time did you eat lunch? She said 11:30. I said, what time was it when you got home? She said 6. I'm like, anybody would have eaten the whole thing of cookies. We get down on ourselves because we think we eat junk or whatever. But if we're feeding ourselves throughout the day, you're going to be less likely to overeat on the junk. And you won't be ravenous. If you're not honoring your hunger and you wait to the point where you're ravenous, of course you're human. You're going to eat anything that isn't nailed down because you're hungry. So that's really important. Eating often, and then obviously keeping these other things in mind. So it's not like jujubes or whatever every 2 hours, but something with some nutrients in them. Number 10, every once in a while, when the urge or circumstance dictates, forget about the other strategies. I think this is really smart, very wise thing to do. In other words, don't be so into the strategies that you're on a diet. Do you know what I mean? Forget about the diet, forget about what you should and shouldn't do, and if you're at a party and you're celebrating your aunt's 80th birthday or whatever it is, then enjoy it. And then there's other things too, like go to the party not starving because you'll be ravenous. Like maybe eat something light before you go, and then when you get there, you'll be like, oh, I really like this and this. Oh, I don't like that so much. That's what I do when I go places. I scope it out, and I know what I really want to have, and then I have it and enjoy it. But then if you're doing number 2 there and honoring your fullness, okay, I don't need it. I know there's going to be dessert, and that's my thing. I like dessert, so I'll hold back. But every once in a while, if you do overeat a little bit, or it's a holiday meal and you had more than you wanted, don't beat yourself up about it. Just forget about the strategies and just live life and enjoy it, and then get back into your routine. Not back on the diet, but back into your routine. Okay.
When you try to starve yourself between your meals, your body goes into survival mode.
Yes, it does. And do you know what happens to your metabolism when that happens? It slows down. It's conserving energy. The body's saying, she's not giving me energy, so I'm going to conserve it. And you don't want it to do that. You want it to be burning, burning, burning. If you're eating often, now I didn't really put anything, these are healthy eating strategies. Now I teach nutrition, and in nutrition, even when we teach nutrition, we always have to talk about the E word. Exercise.
Oh.
And I would even say, don't even call it exercise, call it physical activity. But if you are eating often and moving throughout the day, your body is going to be burning more calories when you're watching a movie with your kids or grandchildren than if you had starved yourself all day and sat around. Your body's in conservation mode. So whether you're sitting at a table or walking in a store, your body is going to be burning calories at a higher rate than it would be if you were starving yourself and slowing down. And that's definitely true. People say, oh, that person has such a high metabolism. There's some things that we have control over that help increase our metabolism, like eating often and moving. Being a woman decreases it, so that's a bummer. Men have a higher metabolism than women. And also, people with more muscle mass have a higher metabolism. Now, men usually have more muscle than women, so that's part of that. They're also usually taller. Being taller you have a higher metabolism. So for us people, 5'5" and under, I don't know, we're not blessed with the tallness. But don't focus on the things you can't have control over. Focus on the things you can. And the two most important, I think, are moving and eating. Moving and eating. So anyway, those are those strategies, okay? Now, these are things that you could, even if you picked 1 or 2 or 3 things, I always tell my nutrition class, they're usually 19 to 50-year-olds, but I say my objective isn't to get you to memorize everything about nutrition, but take 1 or 2 nuggets of what we learned this semester and put it into practice, and I'll be happy. Because that's what you really want, is just to learn something and then go with it. And if it works for you, who cares if you're not perfect or didn't get exactly where you wanted to be? But if you incorporated one healthy lifestyle change, then that's super. It's one more you didn't have before. These other, I guess, guidelines, if you want to call it that, are just practical things that you can do, keep in your fridge, keep in your freezer or whatever. Getting the most bang for your nutrition buck is basically eating nutrient-dense foods. So these are just examples of nutrient-dense foods that are powerhouse healthy. They're not miracle foods. They're not going to melt fat away or make weight loss happen quickly. And that's another thing. You do want your weight loss to be slow. If it's quick, if you follow any fad diet, I'm not here to promote any specific diet, but any fad diet that says you can lose weight quick and you have to avoid certain foods or only eat certain foods, you will lose weight. Will you keep it off? No, you will not. So that's why I don't like diets. That whole non-diet approach is really where I'm at. But there are certain foods that are more nutrient dense than others. Blackberries, a bowl of blackberries and banana slices is more nutrient dense than a bowl of Oreos. Now, am I saying that we don't want the Oreos? No. But if you are truly feeding yourself, you can have
Fried
2 or 3 Oreos. What's that?
At the Norco Fair, they sell
The fried Oreos. Oh, I don't think I can do that.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, I love Oreos, but I need them dunked in milk. I have to say that when you eat well and you're feeding yourself, you can still have the Oreos, but you'll eat 2. And if it's after a meal, you'll be like, that's good. I feel good right now. If you eat them for a snack, you're going to want the row. You're not going to want 2 or 3 because you're hungry. So you need to feed yourself. But these are just examples. Frozen vegetables, canned salmon or even canned tuna, brown rice, edamame, which is soybeans basically, and even those soybeans that are toasted, roasted, like they're nuts, soy nuts they're called. Yeah, they're like nuts. They're very good. Yeah, they're crunchy. They're good. And you can get them salted, roasted. I mean, they're good.
How about almonds? I heard almonds.
Almonds are very good.
Okay.
Actually, all nuts are really good. Walnuts, almonds, even pecans. They all have their good. Cashews. No, cashews aren't so bad.
I made walnut
They
pancakes.
all are high in fat. Every
that
single
sounds good.
nut is high in fat. So again, it's good to include them in your diet. But if you have the can of Planters in your pocket or you're sitting on the couch watching TV, your fingers are going to be scraping the bottom of that can real quick because you're going to eat through it.
They're on the computer.
You're on the computer. So again, it's better to use the nuts in a way like incorporate it in your meals, like sprinkle it on salads or in cereal or oatmeal or I don't know. Incorporate. You really only need about a quarter of pancakes.
Yeah, I said I made walnut pancakes.
Walnut
on
pancakes, that's a
Sunday.
great idea. You only need about a quarter of a cup a day. If you do eat like a cup, that's 4 servings. It's a lot of calories and a lot of fat. Now, mind you, it's the healthy fat. It's better than eating a Big Mac. It's not saturated fat. It's poly and mono-unsaturated, and more mono. So it is good. Sweet potatoes are another one. You can bake them. They're better than white, but I made baked potatoes last night for dinner, so sweet potato fries are great. They're my favorite too, and I make them. You know what? I am going to give you a little hint.
Ranch dressing.
Yes, and even like not cayenne pepper, but cumin or something. You put cumin on them. They're really good. If you use yams instead of sweet potatoes, they will be mushier and orangier. They're darker in color. And I'm only telling you because I also have a cookbook called The Sneaky Chef. And there's 2 versions. One's for kids that I have, and then I was just
Oh, I
at
think I
BB's
heard
and
of
found the man one, how to cheat on your husband in the kitchen, and it's how to fool him by putting stuff in
Sneak in
food.
the zucchini.
And yeah, sneak in zucchini. Well, the fries, I said, I'm going to buy the sweet potatoes, and I cut them up, and I put oil and put them in the oven and baked them. And the kids were fooled until Emily, she always gets everything. I can't stand it. These are a little sweeter. Are these sweet potatoes? But looking at them, they couldn't tell. But they are healthy.
Go to your room.
Yeah, go to your room. Okay, so those are the most bang for your buck. The next thing is filling up properly. You want to make sure you eat breakfast, eat as many raw or cooked vegetables as you can, drink water before meals, consume modest amounts of caffeine, eat from appetizer-sized plates. You probably heard that, like Weight Watchers says to do that. Oh, that's okay. You're welcome. No problem.
I have to go too.
You have to
What about peanut butter? I have a friend that's been going to a nutrition, and she suggests her having peanut butter for breakfast on toast.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
That's what she eats.
Mm-hmm.
She's lost 21 pounds in the last, well, I guess she went before, I don't know.
So it's been like 6 weeks. You shouldn't lose more than 2 pounds a week.
But anyway, she's lost it slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't believe now that she has lost 21 pounds, but she eats a lot of peanut butter.
Yeah. Now, a lot of peanut butter, it's just like the nuts. It's high in calories, but it's the good kind of fat. So it's a good thing, but too much of a good thing isn't always a good thing.
Right.
But the reason it's good for breakfast is you want to try to include a protein and a carbohydrate, preferably a whole grain, and maybe a fruit or
Yeah,
dairy.
well, she has to have a whole grain.
Right, like a whole grain
bread.
bagel or
The bread.
bread, and putting a little bit of peanut butter. What the peanut butter does is protein sticks with us the longest. So it's called the nutrient with the most, the highest satiety value. It keeps us fuller longer than any other nutrient. If you ate an apple by itself, it would taste good, and you would, oh, that was good. And then about 20, 30 minutes later, you're like, okay, what else can I eat? But if you ate it with peanut butter or cheese, it would stick with you longer because you need the protein. An egg, cheese, milk, dairy. Like a bowl of cereal is a great snack because it's carb and dairy, so the dairy has protein. So it sticks with you a little bit longer. Now, if it's puffed wheat or Cheerios, it might not stick with you as long as like a bran cereal or something that has
Yeah, I
more.
eat oat bran and that
Oat
fills me
bran,
up.
that does fill you up. Oatmeal fills you up. Mini wheats, like a shredded wheat, fills you up.
I don't know, I said, so the doctor asked me what I eat for breakfast, I said Cheerios, and, he had to well, I mean, just the regular Cheerios.
Oh, right, the plain ones.
Maybe he thought I ate the other kind, I don't know.
Oh, the honey nut or something.
But he said they're going back to this caveman diet, where you eat, I guess nuts and, protein
Mm-hmm.
and,
Well, it sticks with you longer. I mean, it's nice. If you had a bowl of cereal, that's the quickest and easiest thing to eat. But you also could do like a piece of bread, a whole grain bread, with some peanut butter or nuts, even a handful of nuts if you're running out the door, a glass of milk and a handful of nuts. That works. And when I say handful, I mean handful, not the bag or because again, it's very high in calories. But I would say that multigrain Cheerios and Cheerios are probably your best bet because they both have 3 grams of fiber, which is considered a good source, but very low sugar. Even the multigrain is 6 grams of sugar. That's a teaspoon and a half of sugar. Regular Cheerios only has 1 gram of sugar. That's a quarter of a teaspoon. That's nothing. When I was growing up, I used to put sugar on the Cheerios.
I don't need sugar anymore on cereal.
Yeah, it's better not to add it. Well, the way cereals are made now, they have it. I mean, even multigrain Cheerios, which is a healthy cereal, I mean, it has some. Mini Wheats has them, Frosted Mini Wheats
But I
has.
use Splenda. I have to have
And you
something
can use
on oatmeal.
Splenda. Yes, I have to
Splenda on
put,
that,
yes. And
And I
sometimes
put
it's,
walnuts in the bottom of the cereal dish and
then the oatmeal.
with
That's
the
a great
raisins.
idea.
With the raisins.
That's a good idea.
Sounds good.
It is. But I feel like we're going over. Are we going over time? I mean, because
I
we're
have to
pretty
go.
much
Some
done. I
people
just
have
used to go.
choir. I have
I'm
to
sorry
leave
I was late.
in about 5 minutes for
Okay.
picking up Katie at district.
Well, I mean, really, I mean, these are just,
Thank you.
oh, you're welcome. These, basically, filling up properly means feeding yourself well. And I think I already went through most of it. Eat slowly was the last one. Obviously, if you inhale it quickly, you're going to want more. If you eat slower, It does take 15 minutes for the brain to figure out that the stomach's full. That is true. So you just want to eat slower so that, you know. And if my kids eat real quick and then they want more, I let them have more, but Allison's the one that can just pack it away. This is on tape.
Yeah.
I'll tell her, just wait about 10 minutes and see. And sometimes, if she's still hungry in 10 minutes, I let her have more because she's a growing girl.
Right.
But a lot of times I think we just want more because it tasted good. So, and then the motivation for your goals is kind of what you guys are doing here with Faith by the Pound, getting a buddy, eating more frequently. That again, that helps. Trying to choose, choosing one thing, one or two things that you can do to make a change. And I think that's what it's all about. It's not memorizing all of these sheets and reading all these diet books and getting all this stuff in and being overwhelmed. It's wow, there's tons of stuff you can do. Let's just pick one or two and stick with it. If you stick with it and never do anything else, it's better than doing 10 and then 2 months later not doing any of those 10 anymore, which is usually what we do. I think it's very common to do that.
I mean, I tried walking like for the month of January a couple times a week, but I didn't really see, I don't think, much weight loss.
So you're walking twice a week?
No, it was probably close to 3 times a
Oh,
week.
really? Okay. And you didn't notice anything? Were you eating the same?
I mean, my thyroid was off slightly.
Okay, that might help. That might be interfering with the weight loss. I mean, if you've got thyroid problems, if you've got a hyperthyroid, that means your thyroid's overworking. And usually, there's always exceptions to every rule, but usually you're actually losing weight with that. And you're not, even if you don't want to. But if it's hypothyroid, where it's not working efficiently enough, then weight loss it seems almost impossible. I mean, it feels like you could be exercising and watching what you're eating, but you're not really seeing the weight loss, but it's more of a thyroid problem.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, she changed my dose, but it really was pretty, I mean, I'm not a doctor, so I shouldn't say, but it did seem pretty slight to me when I looked at blood work. And, but it could be that when I go to CVS and then I see the Twix bars.
It is hard. You know what though? But I don't know your name.
I like Twix
Cindy.
bars too.
You might be hungry when that's happening. That's why if you truly are feeding yourself throughout the day, and I will tell you, I eat breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, afternoon snack, dinner, and usually an evening snack. I mean, I eat 6 times a day. And if I could easily, after lunch, walk into CVS, get a prescription, and not even be tempted. Now, if it's right before dinner, I went to Costco today with my neighbor.
Uh-oh.
We ate our way through that store. They had samples
That's right,
everywhere.
They do. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it, and they were good. We went back, and she asked us again, and my neighbor said, "Oh, we already have it." She goes, "Have some more." But I mean, I didn't. I was like, I didn't really want any more after that. It was.
Right.
But I think that I told her, I said, "Boy, come here right before dinner, and you'll eat half your dinner," which probably isn't a good thing. But I did taste a lot of different things. But I mean, what I'm saying is that if you're really not eating well throughout the day, you're going to be more tempted, especially for the quick, easy, like the candy bars, the cookies, the chips, the stuff that's just easy to eat.
Yeah, because I guess I only do it if I'm hungry. That's
Right,
when I usually do
right.
it.
So what you want to do then is think of ways that you can eat, think of foods that you can take with you. I mean, I literally do try to keep several things. When I go to work, I only have an hour for 45 minutes for lunch. But there's times where I'll teach 2 classes back to back. I have to eat a yogurt in between them because I just taught for an hour, and I know I have another hour before lunch, so I'll eat a piece of my lunch or whatever it is. Usually it's a yogurt because it's easy. And I love the Dan and Oikos traditional Greek. So raspberry is like, it's so good.
I like the
It's so good.
pomegranate.
I just love it. I go through, everybody goes through waves of, I went through years where I couldn't stand yogurt. I don't know what happened when these Greek yogurts came out, but I love them.
Yeah,
Love them. So you just need to find kind of what's good for you, and maybe some granola bars. Now, and you can go to the granola bar aisle and you may as well go buy a candy bar with some of them.
Right.
But there are also good ones that can help. Fiber One actually really, I know Nutrition Action newsletter called it Fiber None. It has functional fiber in it, so it has 9 grams of fiber, but it's extracted from a lab. It's like psyllium, it's like Metamucil. They put it in the candy in the bar. But it fills you up. It fills you up. I mean, there's times I don't even really want it, but if it's all I have in my purse, I'll eat it till I can get back and have a snack or have something, real.
What about Kashi bar? The Kashi bars?
Kashi bars are great.
Okay.
Great. My kids love those Special K crisps. It's just junk. It's just sugar and flour. That's all it is.
At bedtime, I'll have a piece of wheat bread with a thin layer of peanut butter.
Yes, it's a great snack. It's a
started
great
eating
snack.
with my own personal dietitian, and
Yes, that's what you
I had
said.
lost like a couple pounds,
Good, good.
And she reminded what you said as far as like on Valentine's Day, I had one donut. So
Good. So you treated
Yeah,
yourself.
and,
yeah.
and I didn't like eat 12, So
Right. And that's, what, we're here to enjoy life. It shouldn't be drudgery. It shouldn't be eating your carrots and peas and, nothing else and skipping a meal. And we should enjoy it. So I would say taste foods again for the second time. Like taste what you're eating. You might not like foods that you're eating every day. You might not even really enjoy the taste of them. I mean, birthday cake was one of those things. I mean, growing up, I was like, it's cake, man. I'm having 2 pieces. I remember just like being really into the cake. You know what? I am a cake snob now. If it does not taste good, I will eat a bite. If I'm at a party and I take a bite and it's dry, I'm done. And it's not because I'm all worried, but it's like, why even eat it? If it doesn't taste good to me, I'm not going to eat it. I mean, we have taste buds for a reason, so enjoy it. And why eat it if you're choking it down?
Yeah.
And then I've learned to really like a lot of vegetables and stuff that I never really thought, just making them different. Broccoli now is like dessert for me if I make it my way. I stir fry garlic and olive oil, put the broccoli in the pan, cook it to just crisp. I like it a little bit crunchy. Take it off the pan. I add feta cheese to it. It is so good. I could eat like 2 cups of it, and it fills you up. Like I'll eat it with my meal. There are times that we'll have dessert, and literally I'll just wait till bedtime to have my dessert because after that just is so good to me that I don't want to stuff a piece of whatever down, brownie or whatever it was that we made for dessert, because or else I'll have my 1 serving of broccoli and I'm like, darn, I'm having more. And I'll eat more of the broccoli. I love and sometimes I like fresh garlic on it. I won't even stir fry it. I'll just throw in minced garlic, and it's just, it's got that bite, Everyone else doesn't like it when I do that, but it tastes really good.
Well,
So it's good. Yes.
Yes, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome. You're welcome.